Hello, my name's John Price from Kenton Electronics, and today I want to show you a Pro-Solo being used to control the arpeggiator of an SH101 being driven from a drum machine. Before we start, we need to change a couple of settings on the SH101, so I'll bring that a bit closer to the camera so you can see. The display is showing P for parameter 01, so that is showing you parameter 01, which is the MIDI channel, MIDI receive channel. So if I press select, it shows you 1. That's irrelevant for this particular demonstration anyway. We want parameter 20, which is the aux controller number. So I'll press the ink button until I get to 20. Press the select button, which gives us the data. So it's presently showing controller number 16. So we don't want controller 16. We step that down using the deck button and go past 0 to AF for aftertouch, VL for velocity, PB for pitch bend, OF for off, TR for trigger, and CL for clock. That's the one we want. Press select. We're back at the parameter display. So we also want to change parameter 22. So we again press the ink button a couple of times, gives us parameter 22. Press the select button. It's showing 100, which means the aux max value voltage, in other words, is approximately 10 volts. We actually want 5 volts, so we need to change the data on here so that it says 50. Again, press the deck button until that shows 50. Press select. So that's now selected. The only other thing you'll probably want to change will be clock divide, which is parameter 41. So again, press the ink button until we get to parameter 41. Press select. It's presently set to 2. You'll probably want to use either 12 or 6 for the SH101, but for the purpose of the demonstration I'm going to set it to 24 for now. What that means is, with this set at 24, the MIDI clock is, of which there's 24 MIDI clocks per quarter note, is divided by 24, which means, in other words, you get 1 clock out of the clock output for every 24 MIDI clocks, which is a quarter note. So we'll get quarter notes effectively playing on the SH101 using this setting. I'll show you other settings later. So we've got to plug this in, plug MIDI in, so MIDI cable in, and we've got to plug in a 3.5mm mono jack to 1/4 inch mono jack. That will go into the aux 1 brackets clock output of the Solo. So that's there. And the other end, as I said, has got a 1/4 inch mono jack, goes into the X clock in of the SH101. Also, because I'm going to demonstrate the arpeggiator, we want the, I'll show you it on up and down. So if I now start the drum machine, which is playing an 8th pattern, hope you can hear that. If I play the notes on the keyboard, you get quarter notes playing on the arpeggiator. And you can hear that's what's happening. So if I stop that, if I now change this parameter 41, the data of it, change it from 24, if I change that now to 12, you'll get eighths out of the, in other words, quavers out of the SH101. Again, we'll start the drum machine. So you can hear you getting quavers out of the SH101. Again, I'll stop the drum machine and change it now. Parameter 41 I'll now change to 6, which will mean you'll get semi-quavers. You do need to stop the drum machine and restart it every time you've changed that parameter 41 setting, because it gets in a knot otherwise, because you'll have stepped through all sorts of different divisions. So start it again, and if I play a couple of notes now, you'll hear semi-quavers. So that's the SH101 being controlled in sync using a Pro-Solo. A couple of points to watch out for. you must be playing the actual keyboard of the SH101. You can't do this using CV and gate. The CV and gate sockets, the input sockets, go directly to the oscillator. The arpeggiator is driven by a little microprocessor inside the SH101 which scans the keyboard, and the CV and gate go directly to the oscillator, which will bypass the arpeggiator anyway. And apart from that, you would only get mono single notes, because it's only mono synth. You can't have multiple notes coming in via CV and gate unless you've got multiple CV and gate sockets. So you do need to be playing the keyboard of the SH101, and the same applies to the sequencer. It has to be done on the SH101's own keyboard. Another thing to watch out for is that although the LFO stroke clock slider controls the rate of both the LFO and the clock, it doesn't follow that you can clock the LFO using the external clock in. It just isn't wired that way. So that's all of the SH101 being controlled via clock. Thank you very much for watching.